Well, and you know, Minnesota are definitely going to be the team that like wants it more in a sense because they're on the bubble for the champs contention. So these guys are going to be coming out with some absolute ferociousness. Boston, I mean, in a sense, playing for pride, they could technically make it to champs, but they would have to string together like a monumental run. Virtually not possible.
Well, if you've got to win them all, you've got to win the first one, right? So let's see what Boston can do. Of course, the new pickup, well, kind of new pickup in Major Maniac coming on through for Boston. See if they can get anything going, but you are right for Rocker. I suppose that result that just previously happened probably doesn't help them too much with Ultra somewhat crumbling, but a good start here to Vista. A couple dead, managed to get some control. The first points on the board here for Rocker.
Yeah, absolutely solid stuff off the opening break. 20 seconds left as well. It's not too shabby, and you can play with a little bit of freedom as well. Standy pushed up into position. Snoopy, though, wants to chop it down on the flank and is going to be successful at it. So maybe a nice little chip away at the final 10 seconds of scrap. Keep things close as we rotate towards new. But, of course, Rocker, we're in a good situation early on. They're going to get there first. Snoopy, though, might be a problem already. Nice 5-1 start.
Yeah, that's going to be a dangerous proposition for Rocker. I'll have to keep an eye on what Snoopy's going to be doing here. Flank going to be coming in pretty much immediately as well. Break should be coming in here for Boston. Breacher does so. Really nice play by them. Force spree for Snoopy. If he can keep this up, Boston have got a chance to go on that miracle run. Long way to go, even in just this series and in this map as well. But currently a decent enough start. Getting some good time. We have 40 seconds to go. Rocker will steady the ship somewhat, but Boston not in too bad of a position. Linz will find one, trying to hold something down here, but bit of a pinstripe kill feed between both these two teams. Nobody really in control. Rocket, though, starting to get some time. The time on the board they will get. 25 seconds to go here at P2. Looking solid for Rocket.
I was going to say 25 seconds might be worth fighting for as well. Boston maybe a bit scattered on the idea of what they exactly want to do. So Priesta maybe wants to hit old, but Rocker, I mean, just the tightest of setups around the zone, and they're going to shred and get virtually every single kill as well. So a lot of effort being put on Boston to try to make things mixy, and as a result, you get the split spawns on the rotation. And Rocker, that is just an opening to try to lock down the back. Linz, well, it's going to be him and Accuracy on the back line. They're not on any rush for the moment. Take your time. Make sure you win the gunfights behind the time.
Oh, they haven't been able to find anything. Rocker on the push round from the flank. Gunless will find two, though, so that will open the door ever so slightly. Spawn from behind, though. Boston Breach are going to be there to potentially pinch, but Rocker are going to be the first ones here themselves. Accuracy through the front door will find one. Needs the rest of the team to be here, though. Linz can't find anything. Clean wipe from Boston. They might find themselves 30 seconds behind, but some good time on offer here. Over towards P3.
And it's going to be a tough one, too, actually. I mean, Rocker won so many of the key gunfights to actually go and get the spawns, but still on the actual whole pod front thing, Boston, pretty sizable job. You feel like it's going to be overwhelming. Like, eventually, Rocker should be able to pierce through, but Boston, somehow, these guys have been fighters, flooding back in through the front side of the time. And, I mean, all things considered, for the fact that they never really had the back spawns, that is a good chunk that they were able to get. Of course, though, if you never get the back spawns, the rotation should be difficult, but right now, I know Standy just completely by himself on the back line. His teammates there to help pick him up off the cross, and good enough job done. Able to stay alive as the hill pops, but right now Rocker sort of hanging on by the skin of their teeth.
Boston played that one very toughly. Over towards P3. Gonna have to be a bit tougher to try and find the break here, though. Setup is looking good for Rocket. Can they manage to find this kill over towards the back? Just trying to be a nuisance. If you are Beans, he gets taken down. And now it's about the push that comes in from the front side. Standy will find one. Accuracy here to clean up as well. It's been a good hold so far from Rocker. Over towards P4. It's getting better as time goes on. Gunless can't find that gunfight, though. There's a potential break coming in here through for the Boston Breach side. Only find themselves 40 points behind at the moment. Chance definitely feels that Rocker, or maybe just an ever so slight step ahead, but nothing to be too worried about for Boston so far. Rotation's going to start coming in over towards the bridge in a second, but Gunless has slipped the net. This could be an issue.
Yeah, right now, Rocker have just been more sort of fundamentally sound. Again, just putting that extra emphasis on the back spawns, and even Gunless, extra emphasis on those rotations. But that is incredible awareness there by Snoopy just to take down the pinch. And again, Gunless could have pierced this setup and just daggered Boston on this hill. But instead, Boston, now they're free and clear. No flanks rolling through. All eyes forward on the hill. Might be able to get themselves a good chunk of time.
Oh, they might have been able to had not three of them died pretty much simultaneously. Snoopy now left all on his own. He gets wiped out as well. It's just too easy for Rocket to break on through for however tough they were over towards P3. That was weak. Boston get broken far too easily. Spawns towards the back for Accuracy, and a 5 spree for him as well. We'll be looking for the 6th, and the cruise missile, especially the buffed ones, are going to be looking solid on this map, including what he can do from this position. Priesta Beans, Major, all combining well, though. The 6 would be good. Accuracy can't clean it up. I'm sure this gun got buffed, but nonetheless, Accuracy will be asking for the 6. Does not happen. So focus on that from him. doesn't result in anything, and Boston Breach will eventually get a hold of some time over towards the end of the hill. Not going to happen, though, for Boston Breach on that first rotation. Minnesota Rocket very, very solid throughout, but Boston not out of this one by any shot.
Well, this is the rotation, by the way, that often feels like it can decide games. You get that second set of rotations over towards the new P1, and well, Boston, it does not even last 10 seconds before Rocker just stroll through and break it down. So the past two hills, neither team has had any success at holding on, so much so that Boston might just strike right back and take the hill. Accuracy can't quite turn and burn, but Rocker do just enough to get the 4-man wipe. So, hey, you broke down the P1 hold. Rocker in good position still.
Rocker in a good position. Boston 50 or 60 behind. You need to start to find a way back into this one. You want to make champs, you need to find yourself with a good start. Let's go for a listening. Boston Breach.
Nice. TV on TV. I'm watching. You got me. TV cat. TV cat. Mid. Watch your mid. Alright. What's the new? Plat.
It's me, Plat.
Who is it?
Middle standing.
Go flank low. I'll Eric. He's mid. He's low. Nice. One more. Tell me. He's not down. He's low. Go time. Dead. I'm watching this. Yeah, he's mid. He got me.
Jumping down.
That's one. Tell me. I should have. It's big time.
I'm dead.
I'm mid top.
I think you
I got some. I'm one shot mid, bro. Mid, Sandy. Mid,
nice, man. Shit. I'll get time here.
We're missing lane.
Let me back right. Let me back. I think it's
I have a left. Following time, guys. Time. Nothing left. I can take every man. I didn't. Lamar, behind the lens, guys. Yeah, tell them back. Okay, they might be burger on you. I have your low, man.
Push on burger, maybe? We should shift to right. I don't see him burger.
On the desk. One shot.
Take your time with these kills.
Yeah, one's gonna be probably back left on me.
I'm standing above.
I'm
Three buffs, yeah, I'm trying to help.
He's on the palm. One shot.
I think these guys Zig standing one shot.
I'm probably dead here, guys. I'm dead. Just in the back. On the ball. One shot.
Alright, I'm gonna go through left. Someone show me left. I'm here.
One. You're gonna be bridge.
Minnesota Rocker have found another gear, and Boston Breach cannot keep up. Managed to find the rotation over towards P3, and well, we were calling that it could potentially be game, but Boston Breach may well find themselves the breakthrough. Snoopy trying to do it all on his own. 3 spree for him. Could do with finding a couple of more for the rest of the squad. They're nowhere near. Minnesota Rocket, 20 seconds remaining here over towards P3. Rotation looking great for P4. It's their game to lose now, chance.
Yeah, and they've just been playing an annoyingly safe game. You got guys like Linz tucking himself in the back of the map by the piano room, playing as safe as possible for the rotation. Rocker, even when they lost the P1 time early on, just so much emphasis these guys have been putting on the spawns, and they've been able to keep it secure. So Boston, like, the hills have been mixy. They've been fighting in the kills column. They've been okay, but with hills like this, you are simply too far behind. A victory lap of a final hill for Rocker.
Fundamentals on point throughout for the Minnesota Rocket. Can they close it out here as we say that? The break will come through for Boston Breach. It was looking very unlikely, but they do find a way to slip the net. Find a break back through, and this would be the start of a monumental comeback if it does happen. But 30 seconds to go here for Boston Breach. Even with every single one of those seconds, it's still going to be an 80-point game. Gunless towards the backside may be the one to cause some sort of an issue, but bullets in ain't going to find the shots to quite finish that one off. That's a 4-man down for Boston Breach. Still a long road to go through, though. Yeah, chance.
They're actually going to chalk it up and go on the rotation as well. So Snoopy might be the guy that has to make the big play. Well, he gets cut down. New Hill 6 seconds away from popping. And for Boston, again, it's like individual heroic plays that would need to take place. Priest gets cut down. Major Maniac gets cut down as well. Rocker, like a swarming unit, all 4 players around the new point as it pops. And they get the job done. Nice little exasperation of a nice calm from Gunless after. I know he's happy to be squaring up with Beans again.
Very solid result for Minnesota Rocker in map number 1. It never looked unlikely throughout. Rotations on point. Found the breaks where they needed to. Boston flailing in map number 1. Minnesota Rocker will take a deserved lead on Vista. And it's just one of those games that you kind of watch and just see one team just be fundamentally so much better. I mean, they're just for Rocket in that scenario, dotted their I's, crossed their T's, got the job done. Boston Breach, as you kind of alluded to, scrappy there, Chance, but nothing more than that, really.
No, not at all. I mean, look, I think it was what a 3-kill slang difference. That's a 100-point gap in the game. So yeah, on a fundamental difference, Rocker were just playing the easier game. They had the back spawns more often than not. Like even the first go around, it was on the P3. We saw Boston fighting tooth and nail, got the majority of the time on the hill, but you just have to work so much harder for these kills. And then Boston maybe had like 2 good opportunities with some like actual efficient setups. People pushed out, and anytime they would get a setup, well, everybody would just lose their ones and it would collapse almost immediately. So sort of the idea at the pro level, if you're playing the more difficult game, you're just going to end up losing the majority of the time. Rocker, for the most part, just comfortable. But again, if you just want to pay attention to the stats, really not too big of a difference between the 2 squads. The scoreboard, though, tells a very different story.
Yeah, it's almost more frustrating when it's that way, right? You know, you can kind of slay, you can hang in that respect. You haven't just been blown out of the water. It's just a tough one to take, I suppose. But for Boston, back to the drawing board when it comes down to Vista Hardpoint, but you've got another 4 maps to potentially do something on. Minnesota Rocker will take a deserved lead. It's about a 100-point game in the end. Nice and steady away for the Rocker side. The new recruit on Boston not quite getting the job done instantaneously, but we'll see if things do work out differently as the rest of the series does boil on. But here is the game floor. Minnesota Rocker got a hold of the lead from the get-go and never let it go. Really good job from them. Very much a fundamental gameplay coming in on Vista, which you do see quite often. The team who are better at hardpoint will typically win that map, and deservedly so for the Minnesota Rocker this time around. They'll take a 1-0 lead in what will be their fight to solidify themselves in champs at the end of the season. The Vision Search and Destroy going to be coming up next, high-rise control, and then if we need it, we'll get the C6 start hardpoint. New Hills coming up on that one. It'll be interesting, but Rio Search and Destroy will be map number 5 if we do get there. On the basis of what you just seen there, though, Chance, I mean, I know it's map number 1, but Rocker coming in, very, very solid start.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I know something like behind the scenes is a lot of these teams, the pressure's on maybe to make a roster change going into the final split. Boston being the only team that really actually made that sort of final call. So Rocker, sort of the word through the grapevine, as it were, is that they talked about it as a team. They wanted to switch up the way they were playing hardpoint just a bit, but they're trusting this roster to sort of make it through to the top 8 and get the champs in the end. So a lot of trust and faith being put in the team. Solid map 1, and I know for the S&D, they're going to have a very strong advantage on Invasion S&D as well. Boston are 0-8 on the year on this map. It is nearly June, and they haven't even accidentally found a win.
Yeah, that's it's a tough statistic to look at, but I suppose we were having a conversation about, well, why the hell is it in there? New roster, I suppose. Major Maniac coming in, his S&D prowess. I suppose he might have some ideas of how to break that duck, is a significant one at 0-8. Let's see if they can turn it around. There's no time like the present. Maybe they can get it done. But yeah, it's a tough one. Like, you lose a map number 1, you're then heading on to your consensus worst map, probably the worst map for any team in the CDL right now. Well, it's a good look. Is that a stretch?
It's interesting. They are the worst team in the game on it. They're 12th in so many, like, offensively, defensively. These guys have been at the bottom. Obviously, Boston are going against Stand You, who can absolutely pop off. Man's breaking kill records at the Major of 4KD. Granted, that's because they only played maybe like 2 search maps, but nonetheless, he has been an elite caliber S&D player basically since his introduction back in Cold War. So that's the lookout player on the side of Minnesota Rocker. But I do think Boston will have a different look. Major Maniac does bring a lot to the table, specifically for this game mode as well. But I know for Rocker, you do not want to squander an advantage. And right now, well, there's the first blood already. Major Maniac and Snoopy. You love to see Boston making plays together. Get the first blood and the bomb down.
Yeah. Something a bit from left field. 3 through the middle of the map. Find the pick. Back it up. No problem. Good stuff from Boston, finding that first blood. Lins gets taken down. Minnesota Rocket now looking for some sort of inroad over towards this B side. No trophies, of course, in round number 1. So, yeah, those nades about to rain in. Bean's just trying to dodge what he can. Rocker's still working on something over towards the B side.
And of course, on the flip side of the map, you've had Gunless sort of posted up, worried about sort of those A Street pushes, but Boston so far, no mistakes being made. 40 seconds left on the game clock, and I mean, Rocker have to make a decision, and maybe Stanley wants to get active, see if he can sneak through and make the play, but he's going to run to the pre-aim of Snoopy. And this is going to be a very difficult gunfight to win. Go button hit. Snoopy, easy reads. Now accuracy with the bomb. Well, what are him and Gunless going to do? More than likely, just run into death.
Yeah, it's a tough one. You lose that first blood. You need to start finding some gunfights in the middle of the map. And for all that, Gunless will find two. He does not have a lot of time to work with, or a lot of health for that fact. Boston Breach will find round number 1. Big first blood comes through. They hold sight. Good defensive hold. Minnesota Rocket now will get their opportunity, but nice start from Boston. See the play call come out straight from the rip. 3 down mid-map. Find that pick. Back it on up. Nice, simple round of search and destroy. And he's going to be a huge factor, as you point out, Chance. Major Maniac already offering up his influence in 1 round, but 1 round does not make it a search and destroy. Let's see what Rocket can do to bounce back themselves.
And yeah, 1 in 13 in search and destroy throughout stage 3, 0-8 on this map. And I think a lot of it just comes down to sort of those play calls. So Boston spread the map, as is sort of tradition. These guys like to take it slow on attacking rounds. And I mean, that is by comparison. But you know, Linz is in broken. And maybe that's you want to isolate it, or maybe, you know, if there's 2 players on B, make the pressure over towards A, because Standy really by himself on this A site. He's got his work cut out for him.
Ceilings then. Do you want to challenge it, or do you get a little bit scared? Snoopy turns around just in time. Priester flies out. Gunless with the Hail Mary. And all of a sudden, Snoopy and Major will fall into 2 versus 2. Linz has found an inroad, but doesn't find the kill. The round was quiet and it sprung to life, but Gunless finds his 3rd. We'll be looking for the ace. He's not going to get it. Linz will clean up. It was looking like such a good start for Boston Breach. They find 2. The grenade from Gunless stops them in their tracks. 1-1.
You know what? I still kind of like that from Boston in a sense, though. Like, it's an offensive round. They're making plays. They're coordinated. They're doing stuff together. And then, well, yeah, Gunless, absolutely. Well, he finds a way to make you explode. Ends up getting another gunfight win as well. So Gunless, again, fierce on the rematch against Bean so far. But outside of the nade being devastated, Boston, I mean, hey, would have been free and clear for the round. So at least the ideas are there. Definitely want to see him to continue to stay active and make some plays.
Right ideas from Boston, though. I think you're right to point it out. Just 1 good nade comes in from Gunless. That kills the round entirely. Priester, another first blood for Boston. That will now be 3 in a row. Linz trying to work on something over towards A side. Can't work on anything if your teammate grenades you. Grenades have been, well, 50-50 so far for Rocket. But Gunless, the one who has been solid with him, still alive and cooking. 2 versus 3 will get out. But Boston Breach, a good start to the defense once again.
That's just incredibly awkward. Don't even know how it happens, but maybe an unlucky roll or one of those good old heat-seeking frags that just, you watch the path it takes in the kill cam and it just blows your mind. But either way, Gunless and Standy, a 2v4 on offense. You do not get options. Major Maniac making the plays, lines both of them up, and, well, should just send Standy into death. So nice jump on it. Good recognition of the situation as well. And again, Boston virtually, they've been, like, both attacking and defensive rounds, the ones sort of setting the place and controlling the play of action. So for a team that's 0-8 on the map so far, they're not looking too bad.
Been extremely proactive, which is what you like to see. Never have to be, you never want to really be the reactive one in search and destroy, right? You want to be the ones making the calls. And Boston have been doing that so far, and lucky not to be 3-0 up, to be honest with you. 2-1 to the good now. Very solid performance. Gunless really is the only one holding the fort for Rocker so far, and one of the only reasons as to why they have number 1 next to their logo at the top of your screen. Looking like it is going to be a B hit coming in from Boston, trying to make some plays. Rocker not as aggressive on their defensive side this time around. Holding tight, but Boston trying to make some moves.
Well, still a 2-2 split. I mean, roughly the same. Accuracy in Dark is going to be a bit more active, so he can wrap back and help out the A pressure. So I think Boston, instead of full committing, taking their time once again to sort of figure out what they want to do. But just so much attention is actually being dragged down B Street. So if I'm Boston, A will be a little bit easier for you. Stuns out, might want to attack the tank. Snoopy toying with the idea.
It's unfortunate. Snoopy gets that stun off, and then Gunless peeks his head through the middle of the map. Slows that down, stops it entirely. Still looking for a pick here. Both teams posturing. Throwing blows, but not quite able to find the killer one. Snoopy now may well make a move in here. Goes the move from Boston. They're going to find their way down B Street. Linz gets taken down. Standy there for the return. Snoopy will find one back, though. And all of a sudden, B is wide open. 15 seconds to go. Nade is not going to be there in time, even if it does land. Bomb down. 3 versus 2. Gunless. Standy gonna try and find something here, but in a possible situation. Priest lines himself up. Lovely. Snoopy finds another, and Gunless now impossible task in this 1 versus 3. Boston Breach, barring a miracle from Gunless, are gonna have themselves a 2-round lead here. 0 and 8 is looking like it may well be going away very, very shortly. A lot of rounds of search and destroy left to be played, but that was well played from Boston Breach. Found the breakdown B Street and ran away with it.
Yeah, that was absolutely gorgeous, by the way. They were running out of time, less than 30 seconds on the clock. Accuracy was actually doing a very nice job inside of dark to sort of like keep the pressure away from Lynn. So that is not an easy moment. But if you look at the player cams, Major Maniac has been the motor mouth in between all of these rounds. Shout out to the Stocksmans for the interview. I was watching Major Maniac talk about it when they pulled off that sort of like Minnesota miracle where they reverse sweep Toronto in the finals. He was play calling. He said like over 70 rounds in a row. He just completely took control. So Boston early on, playmaking's been on point. Snoopy feeling the love in that regard, 7 and 2, but Priesta having to back down. You see Boston, they are just active. They are all over the place on the map. Rocker right now playing in a very uncomfortable spot.
I was thinking in the previous round, these players seem active. We seem to be moving around. We're trying to find a lot of information out. And I was like, well, I'm watching Snoopy, so that is pretty much par for the course. But everybody else really doing what they can. They know Priesta's up, round potentially behind them. The flank not coming on through, but the smoke does go down. The push comes in. Major Maniac is there for the trade. Will get out 3 versus 3. This bomb may well go down and does so. Rocket now trying to defend, but not as in good a position as what Boston were previously. 2 men on the flank, maybe the dagger, but Major Maniac staying alive back here, chance.
Yeah, he's waiting for his teammates to clear everything out, and they have. They should at this point know all 3 players are in and around site. Snoopy getting active towards the time. 27 seconds left, and we have all 6 players alive. There's the first blood. Snoopy can't catch the angle in the power positions. Overwhelming. Minnesota Rocker, how about a bounce back of a round like that? They're dealing with the pressure of guys like Priesta living inside of your spawn. Well, they can hit out the site as well. If Major Maniac had been maybe just a little bit quicker to help out Beans and protect his friend on the old forklift, well, maybe things could have been different. But Rocker, good execution on the play. And that is an offensive round they absolutely needed.
Yeah, and maybe a little bit of bad timing for Boston over towards that B side of fellas if the tank push was really being watched and all of a sudden Beans is dead behind the digger. It's a tough one. But Minnesota Rocker, they had to make the move. You were right. The big pressure came in from Priest on the flank. And Rocker said, well, yeah, we don't want to have to worry about that. Let's just push towards the side. They executed beautifully. Now find themselves only 1 round behind. Len's now just trying to posture over towards the tank's side. Boston having a little look now. Won't quite be getting nervous yet, but they know they're still in a very good position, still with that lead. Snoopy sitting in 7 and 3. Beans yet to find a kill, so the weight being carried by the youngster. The S&G presence is going to have to be good here as well. Priestess straight out the front door will find one. Snoopy gets taken down, but the trade is there for Major Maniac. 3 versus 2. It's always feeling like Boston have an advantage, and they got the bomb down as well.
Shuts him down, too. Look at who picked up the rival 9 off the ground. Just enough to shut down the Renetti. And Major Maniac making plays, too. Calls out one-shot P-Dog. Swarms right in. And again, Boston Breach getting active. Everybody making them play at the exact same time. It's not just the 2 players, the 2 SMGs flying outside of Cafe to go for the guys on AS&D. They've got their ARs with them as well for the tank. So again, Boston play calls have been on point, effective. That even if they're not getting the first bloods, they're there for the trades, but they have been getting the first bloods. So they've been finding quite a few man advantages. This is genuinely just good search and destroy gameplay we are seeing out of Boston. 4-2 lead. It is not safe with this squad, though. They've had negative ice. Rocker can fight back.
Statistics be damned so far, but it's not over till it's over. Especially when it does come down to Boston. But look, I mean, they're making all the right plays, as you said. They look like a well-oiled Invasion Search and Destroyers team right now. Minnesota Rocker, though, looking for an attack of their own. Trying to find a breakthrough, which has been a big problem for them. It was kind of the screw-it play towards B that got them that previous attack. Can they find anything? Can they cook anything up through the middle of the map? Looking to try and find a Pig Priest, and now under a little bit of pressure, will manage to get away. Rocket starting to get aggressive over towards this A side, but have switched it up. Are you ready for the switch here from the side of Rocker if you're Boston. Snoopy's going to have to back on down, but Beans is going to get the info and his first kill of the round. Going to have to look for a second. Will be screaming for help. Eventually will fall down, but it's the B route once again for Rocker. They find another way in. That bomb will undoubtedly go down. 3 versus 3. Can Boston do anything about this?
Well, they failed at the retake last time. Well, the only difference now, Major Maniac, instead of being an ice cream, he's working the flank with his teammates. Haven't cleared out Broken just yet. You got to fly and get active, but their second attempt at the retake, how well can they do? Rough start, 2v3 now.
Somebody slipped the net, though. Somebody got through. Snoopy evaded absolutely everybody. He's ran through the middle of the site, found 2. Now Linz. 23 seconds. Do they know where he is? They should do. They've already cleared out the broken side. They nearly line up, but they don't. It's all about Snoopy, who finds 2 from nothing. And Boston Breach, second time of asking, find that break back and find themselves 5-2 up.
They're just too good with it, man. Smiles on their faces, making plays in search. Snoopy's getting some help on the playmaking front as well. Smokes out to be the distraction for Linz, who, I mean, Linz ends up just looking the wrong direction. Snoopy finds the play, and the Major Maniac finds himself in the perfect position. Nearly stood up into the pre-fire, but Major Maniac, he has been on point, having the right gun at the right time. Another Rival 9 kill he is able to collect.
Bullet away from dying, and a couple of shots did go through towards Snoopy, so Linz not far away there, to be honest with you, but the rest of the squad and Minnesota Rocket far away from Boston Breach right now in general here on the Search and Destroy Invasion, and they are 1 round away from finding their first win on Invasion Search and Destroy of this season. Just to remind you all of the date, it is the 31st of May. Big hit coming in over towards this B side from Boston. They felt under pressure from the flank pretty much the entire round here, stabilizing just a little bit, but not much map presence this time around. But Rocket have given it up. Boston will not know that.
And Boston have effectively just like trapped themselves in a corner of the map as well. They were trying to play like active over towards B, but the utility going to slow them down. So another opportunity to reposition. Mid-round adjustments. Priesta, well, no stand. He's going to be back over towards the A bomb. Still just the default setup for Minnesota Rocker. And now with 30 seconds on the clock, Boston, you got to make the play call and point. It's going to be A again.
It's worked out for them. The SMGs through the yellow door have found the break. Standy turns around and it just works out ever so perfectly for Boston. Gunless will be there to shut 1 down though. Now the trade's
okay.
You recruit to get the job done. It's not quite Easter, but a miracle comes around the corner. Boston Breach find themselves in Invasion Search and Destroy for the first time this season. We are what, 5 months into it? Better late than never. Boston Breach will tie the series.
And I tell you too, that is a fairly dominant look. That is, they were running them over on the offensive rounds as well. Quite literally, if not from that like double kill nade from Gunless, Boston would have just absolutely picked them apart. I mean, there's maybe 1 or 2 sort of 50-50 rounds, but other than that, Boston Breach looking perfect. Snoopy, I mean, he's been fantastic in Search and Destroy. Fantastic playmaker as well. Another double-digit game he is able to collect, but Priest and Major Maniac there for the show, having a grand old time. Priest and Snoopy, 3 first bloods apiece, and again, we know exactly how those comms were going in between rounds. Major Maniac commanding the troops to a commanding 6-2 victory. From 0-8, they got their first win, and this is just one of those questions like, Major Maniac is the thematic player. How are you just not bringing this dude in for S&D? Like, the rules allow it. He is that guy.
We haven't seen nearly enough of that since the CDL's inception, to be honest with you. But we see a really good performance from Boston Breach 6-2. Very much the conductor of the orchestra was Major Maniac in that one. Fantastic performance from Boston, who break the curse of Invasion Search and Destroy for themselves and find themselves 1 apiece here in this series. Minnesota Rocket work to do here, Chance. For all that, Boston played that one well. A couple of flappable moments, I want to say, from Rocket. You think of that previous round before the one that finished, you got to think they do better. You're now looking at a 5-3 scoreline. If they hold that bomb site down, they do not. It is now 1 apiece. We'll be heading to control after this very quick break. Don't go anywhere. The series is on.
Upgrade your game with the Scuff, the official controller of the Call of Duty League.
Scuff Gaming is doing an ultimate giveaway where you and a friend can win a chance to go to COD Champs this year. The giveaway includes 2 VIP tickets, travel expenses, and more. To enter, scan the QR code on the page or go to scuff.co/CDL and enter your email. Terms and conditions apply.
The Call of Duty League is brought to you by Monster Energy, the official energy drink of the CDL.
If you're tuning in because Boston Breach won a search and destroy, just check that actually did happen. It did. Minnesota Rocket absolutely crumbled Boston. As we mentioned throughout the entire map chance, a well-oiled machine in Boston side of things for the search and destroy. And a very, very different turnaround to what we've really seen throughout the entire of the season. And Major Maniac has got to be a huge reason. Challenger so far this season has been pretty solid, to be fair. Average line finish top 6. Toronto open placement second for him. Good player, Major Maniac. Been around for a very long time. He's got the experience, knows what he's doing. And Boston search and destroy in that map number 2, showing that experience.
Well, honest to God, stats like not that great in challengers, right? Like I think the idea from a lot of the teams when you're going to challengers to pick up players, you don't look for like the average land placing of like 6 in challengers. You would expect you just look at the teams that are dominant getting the wins. But what Major Maniac is a known quantity. Like, you know how good of a player is. You know he's going to be good in the practice room, incredibly professional, works hard every day, and there's literally never been a team that he's been on that has been bad at search and destroy. So, like, you know what his value is. You got to see it in the map, too. But for Boston, obviously, got to win some respawns as well. You have Minnesota Rocker an 0-3 record on this map. So, an opportunity for Boston to get the extra edge, or maybe Rocker will just strike right back.
Mentioned during the break, chance that Rocket's starting to play this a little bit more often after not really too good of a start, specifically on high-rise control at the beginning of the season. Since the new roster's come along, though, they are trying this one out and having a good time with things, really, over towards the B side. But nade coming in from Snoopy will pretty much shut that down entirely. Big kill from Beans as well. Now the setup is here. Rocket with a good start, but all of a sudden you are finding yourself trapped in your spawn, and this is the kind of position that Ben Beans dreams of. AR in hand, plenty of cover. Just people spawning up into his gunfire, trying to lock it down if he can. Rocket trying to find a way through. So far, no opportunities, but one player has slipped in it. That is going to be Lind. He's going to have to try and find the breakout here for Rocket.
Well, and he's going to find it. At least gets that first opening kill. And hey, everyone starts to get a little bit distracted and the trades roll through. So Rocker, you have made it out of the setup. You already got 2 ticks over towards B because you stacked the point. And they're going to stack it once again. Lind's gunless playing the objective, getting the point secure. Added minute to the clock. Rocker looking good on high-rise attack so far.
Good job. It can get a little bit scary. You get stuck in your spawn. You worry about it. Linz has got 1 kill to his name, and that 1 kill has been very, very important. He's going to find anything here on this side of things, but B has been locked down, but Boston have pretty much assumed where they were beforehand, which is fully locking down the entire map. Mid-map control now there again. Minnesota Rocket have done it once. They're going to have to do it again. Trying to push out over towards A, but not too bad of an attacking round to kick things off. Pre-step Beans combining well. Linz will once again find a kill to try and get Minnesota Rocker out, but this has kind of been the story of the round. Chance Boston find a few kills, lock them in, and just make Minnesota's job very, very difficult.
This is devastating. Stanley has to get an entry, and he does, but traded out immediately. Maybe an extra kill coming through, but Rocker still have such a long way to go. They've at least made it over towards the helicopter, maybe attempting to get a power position, but Beans is here, not to shut it down, to get world starred. 2 for Rocker. Snoopy's gonna fall off the map, takes one of the grave with them, but Rocker out and about, 2 players near the zone.
Priest had to win that gunfight and did. Looking for the second as well. The Eco Child, if I've ever seen it. Priest shutting it down. No comments on the propane whatsoever here from my side of things, but Snoopy now just trying to push this out, trying to solidify the round. 4 lives remaining for Rocket. Things getting a little bit scary for Boston. With 25 seconds to go for Minnesota Rocket to try and pull a rabbit out of the hat. Looking unlikely. 3 ticks is what they are going to end up getting unless they can find a wipe nice and cleanly here. Boston Breach very solid on the defensive side of things. That 1 minor lapse you could maybe speak of, but overall not much to write home about from Minnesota Rocker unless you can find something. I've been writing their obituary and all of a sudden they're inside the point. Linz is going to be able to find a kill, but it's 2 versus 8, 1.5 seconds remaining. It'd be something quite monumental if you find this one. Linz gunless trying to stay alive. Snoopy Major will finally come in, put the nail in the coffin. Boston Breach, one to the good here. They find the defense. What was mostly comfortable, Chance, and then got a little bit uncomfortable.
I mean, a little bit. It's one of those situations of, like, you really have to take your time to fight out of the spawn trap. Rocker were able to do that once. You're not going to be able to do it twice. Like, it is just too devastating. It takes so many extra lives just to get out. So the opportunity Rocker had when they actually captured the B zone, those players desperately need to stay alive after the fact. And again, as soon as you get cleared off the board, you can effectively just chalk the round up. So they got 3 ticks of progress. Not too shabby of an offensive round as far as ones that you lose go, but still a big opportunity for Boston to really drive the point home. The pedal to the metal and lead the charge. Snoopy flying at you. Nice moves, but stands into death. Boston, well, no more players active on the map.
Major down low, though. Can he get anything going? Absolutely not. Stanley always going to win that gunfight. And Snoopy is really going to be the one to try and find a breakthrough in the middle of the map. Let's take his time. Trigger disciplines all very well, but the rest of the team not finding anything. The nade bounce over the top. He's not going to find much else either. Bit of a staggered push coming in from Boston. Minnesota Rocket say thank you very much. Boston, welcome to the spawn trap. Tough one to get out of here, but Rocket in a good position. Boston can find a route out here. It's a similar situation to what we've seen in the last round, Chance. Minnesota Rocket not quite as neat and tidy with that spawn, but either way, Boston's still struggling.
Yeah, this is going to be brutal, actually. Yeah, even standing, making moves, getting some power positions, and I mean, Rocker maybe having to run for the hills just a touch, but still neither zone has really, like, the clock hasn't been stopped at all. Major Maniac, the first one to actually get near the objective, but he gets shut down. Maybe an opportunity over towards A. Still got to be concerned about that giant exploding propane tank, though. I know it's coming back with a vengeance. Most difficult thing to kill, because when you kill it, again, it will always get its revenge. Snoopy gets shredded 23 seconds because you've barely been able to play the objective. Boston, they got to go.
For all that defense was relatively clean, the attack has been aching, but they got to do something. Well, they're going to find 3 down, and they're attacking on 2 different sides of things here. The next kill would be big, and they find it. Snoopy onto accuracy, and all of a sudden, what has been a minute of lackluster gameplay, Boston have sprung into life. B now starting to be worked on. A lot of pressure going in over towards that side as well. They could do with at least just finding 3 ticks from somewhere. They're very, very close. They're attacking on 2 different fronts. I wouldn't have minded just the pressure over towards B. They are going to find that 3rd tick, but they haven't extended the time. Still the pressure coming in. They find a couple more. These next couple of gunfights, absolutely huge. Limbs will be able to find one, though. Rocket trying to shut this one down, but Major Maniac 5 spree will find 2. Will lock it in. B looking good. Rocker backs against the wall. Boston making moves.
Yeah, how they've orchestrated this, I have no idea. Now Major Maniac might be able to get that new buffed cruise missile. Well, he's going to have to take his time. All of his teammates going to be coming out of the spawn. Rocker, look at the arrows on the minimap. Worried about the underground flank. They are trying to hunt Major Maniac down. Definitely want to be a little bit careful for the gunfight. And they've been so worried about Major that his teammates at least able to get out of the window. So Boston, 55 seconds left. Not a lot of lives to work with, but the play could be there if Major Maniac can spot his head.
Oh, he got some good shots on accuracy. Can't find anything else, though. Standy will be the one to take him down. Gunless will fall off the map. This doesn't look right. There we are. Nope.
This is a lobby thing, too, not a Priestess thing.
Yeah, 4 versus 8. Boston, can you find anything now? Good shots, not going to quite be able to make them count. Minnesota Rocket looking like they are going to hold on. The ticks will be at the advantage of Boston Breach. Still may have an opportunity here, though. But with 2, with 1, looking tough. Snoopy all on his own. Not going to happen. The round will eventually go over towards Minnesota Rocket. But, I mean, look, it was one of those... I think for Rocket, yeah, okay, you find the round win. You will be a tick down heading into the second set of defenses, but at least he didn't let Major get a hold of that cruise missile, because that could have spelled some trouble. They will find the round, 1 apiece. And now it's the opportunity for Boston to go on the defensive side. Can Minnesota turn it around here with an attack of their own?
Yeah, I was going to say, all things considered, maybe slightly better overall for Boston, but they had to fight to be able to orchestrate that and get it together. Linz, by the way, 17-9. So he started off like 1-1. He was the least active player on Rocker in the first round. Absolute monster there in round number 2. So 17 kills, nothing shy of ridiculous. And maybe the guy leading the charge over towards the B zone as well. Rocker showing off that they are very happy to be playing the objective as I question my math.
Oh, yeah, I thought they only got 3, but I've been told by production and by the text. It was actually 4 for Rocket. Did you miss that as well, Chance?
I did miss that as well, but either way, accuracy might just get one by himself. Actually, he jumped off just a split moment before, and then Priestess chops him down as he tries to go back. So Rocker may be feeling a bit of that tick pressure as well. And I feel the pressure of Snoopy in your spawn, where you kill him, you get traded. And I know Major Maniac didn't get the cruise, but Beans, well, it's his turn, and the strength of Beans, definitely the slang.
20-13. Very much leading the way for the squad, and there is the 6 spree as well. Cruise missile definitely going to help, and that 7th is going to help even more, putting that pressure on once again. Kind of thrived in the first defensive round, and he's thriving here once more. Back on the roster, causing issues for the opposition. 23 seconds, Minnesota Rocker have barely seen a point. Boston with a pretty perfect defensive hold here so far, but 15 seconds more just to solidify it. Big win from Gunless, though. How on earth has he got that? Priestess now going to have to try and lock this down, but 10 seconds. Gunless has got to get in touch with the rest of the team. It's going to mean the investment of the cruise missile. Beans obviously feeling threatened enough that it has to be called in. 1 second remaining to get a touch on the B. Minnesota Rocker still something to work with here. But 1.5 seconds is not a lot of wiggle room. They're not going to need it. Plenty of presence over here. A couple of kills go down. Beans left all on his own. Can't find anything. That might be B gone.
I don't know why Beans wanted to boost the cruise missile immediately. I don't know why he wanted to kill the guy that wasn't closest to either point. So you use a cruise missile to call the round, and instead, Rocker should be able to get the B zone. Priesta, millimeter heroics to get in and stop it. And that is an insane little finish where I don't know exactly where the kills came through, but either way, I mean, if we're talking about a defensive shootout, if we're talking about how important those ticks are, Rocker just happy to be able to like fall their way into getting those final two. Beans, I think, jumping the gun just a bit on the cruise missile, but hey, still get the round win.
Is it a mistake Danny may well learn to rule later on? I'm not too sure, but it felt a bit overzealous, didn't it? The execution as well wasn't necessarily as good as he would have liked, considering the cruise missiles being buffed. Not finding a lot with it. That's a big nade coming through from Major Maniac, though, so the pressure easing immediately on the Boston Breach, and Snoopy doing exactly what he did last time in accuracy. Will read it. But aggression over towards A and B. Major reading that himself as well. That's 3 down. Lin's all of a sudden the one left here for Minnesota Rocker. Good pressure from Boston, who are 2-1 to the good here. The attacking round would find them in the lead in the series.
Yeah, welcome, by the way, to the trophy changes. This might be one of the maps that's most impacted by the trophies being different. The idea of staying alive on the B zone is not a sort of happy thought. So many extra nades it feels like you're playing against, but what Beans is playing for is the kills. 26 to his name already. Stun's going to connect the players off spawn. Beans just wants to slow him down as much as possible. He is doing exactly that. In the meantime, he might fall 2 ticks of progress on B. Priesta even getting a tick of progress on A. Boston, the 2-front war, picking him apart on high rise.
Oh, that might be the game. Plenty of good work being done by Boston, but it looks like Minnesota Rocker have managed to steady the ship. Yeah, backs against the wall, though. Snoopy putting the aggression in here for Rocker. It's just a nightmare situation. You gotta watch your flank. You gotta clear them out. You gotta keep them off the point. There's so much that can go wrong from this situation. Snoopy finds a big gunfight towards the backside, but Gunless standing, doing the best they possibly can. Beans is just trying to lock it in. It will eventually fall, and Minnesota Rocker will get some breathing room. Accuracy still going here. If he can find another, not gonna quite happen. Snoopy's the one who can answer back for Boston, but Rocker somehow gets some map control. Boston Breach are in the ascendancy there.
Also, by the way, 15 to 11 on lives. Like, if you're Boston Breach, you want to keep the pressure up and just play the TDM game, but you got to make sure you're at least getting the trades. And Beans in a technical, you know, S&D kind of situation does get first-blooded, but Minnesota Rocker want to keep things nice and slow. Standy, well, the timing's there. 2 players are shooting the back. There's number 1. Next guy trapped in the elevators, on the hunt, on the prowl. Can't get it done. Snoopy gives you 2, but 10 to 8 on lives now. Both these teams have to be very careful.
There's still plenty of time. A minute to go. These lives really are going to matter. Gunless finds himself in such a good position, and what was looking like a good position for Boston is wiped off the face of the planet. Snoopy has found a route through, and he's going to have to be the one that gets something done here for Boston Breach. Finds himself in a position. He's looking for the kills, but he needs to ease that pressure, which is just unrelenting. Gunless and accuracy will find a couple. They will have to turn around for Snoopy, the long-range rival, and it's looking solid. Can't quite finish the job, but the rest of the team need to find a way out. 5 versus 5. Beans will find another, and this game will just slow down.
Oh, he's just picking apart Lins. Just spawn killing this poor guy. 5v4, no respawns remaining. Snoopy the thorn in your side, standing winning gunfights towards the middle of the map. It's chaos on the mini-map, but you can't get past Snoopy. A 2v2, 15 seconds left to call game.
I mean, Snoopy has just taken over. That's 4 kills in a row. I think 3 of them were on Lins off the respawn. Gunless needs to find the 1 versus 2 to keep Rocker in this control. Looking for the pressure now as Snoopy just trying to stay alive, taking the way over towards this A side. Gunless gaining information, needs to find some gunfights though. Trying to find some awkward angles, but he's got to move now. He's got to move very, very quickly. Gunless into the gunfire of Snoopy, who takes over in the final round. Asking where the Charles are. They were there aplenty, but nobody can outgun Snoopy in that moment. Big round from him. Huge map from Boston. They find themselves in the lead.
Yeah, they just start bullying them at a certain point. This is like what I feel like is the setup for this Boston squad. You got Major Maniac for the S&Ds. You got guys like Beans and Snoopy for the respawns, and Priesta, he'll be doing the dirty work in both modes the entire time. That is a devastating combo for that round to eventually be won on lives. So many ridiculous gunfights that were being won, and as you pointed out, for deservedly so the praise, Snoopy absolutely popping off, just going crazy. And poor Gunless as well, like Snoopy's just playing this situation perfectly, just the constant jump checks. He's got his teammate right behind him. He can do no wrong, can't be killed, and maybe a little frustrated for it. Snoopy, a little extra love there towards the end, but we are just staring at an incredibly broken scoreboard, much like the
Beans with some huge damage for the Boston side. It's just the kind of map that he does revel in, right? But Snoopy is going to be the one on everybody's lips after that final round. Interactions off the chain, and Linz is going to be having nightmares about that. Snoopy time and time again just keeping him in the spawn. And I mean, Rocket were, for all it was a bad start to that final round, they were in a pretty solid position. They had some decent map positioning going on. They had Boston kind of trapped. Snoopy was left pretty much all on his own. I think it was actually a 3-man wipe came through from Rocker. Snoopy was the only one left, and then he basically turned the round on its head, all on his own chance. And that's what can happen when you got somebody on the flank on control and you don't respect what he's able to do. He picked them apart from behind.
Yeah, no, not ideal at all. By the way, more big moments like this little 5 spree from Major Maniac. That was when Boston were having to dig from the depths to get out of their spawn and string something together. But I mean, Ultimate Rocker just completely outplayed. Even if we did go to a final round, Boston would have been nice and secure for the defense as well. So effectively in control the entire time. And I know Priest as well. He has, to me, one of the more unique POVs in the league that when you watch him play, he's gross. Like the snapper on point, his movement is clean. Priest, a very twitchy player. I know over the course of the year, the scoreboard never reflects what at least my perceived skill of him is, but make no mistake, a dangerous player on the map. Boston Breach now 1 map away from really doing the funniest thing ever in a sense. They just had the opportunity to play spoiler against all of these mid-range teams, completely dagger them. Like Seattle comes out, they pick apart Toronto, and they get 10 fantastic CDL points. Boston is literally the team that you have to beat. It is the must win. They got 5 wins on the year. You can't afford to lose CDL points to them. And Rocker, I mean, again, a map away to being on the receiving end of a punishment like that. And it's honestly looking a little likely.
I'm more thinking about a New York style miracle run from Boston. Chance, what were you thinking? No?
I don't know what that means.
You don't know? You don't remember New York when they made the miracle run to make it the champs? We're talking a couple of years ago, to be fair, mate. Okay, that's,
Well, the New York squad, yes, at the New York event. That was a good one. That was a good one. It was
the event.
Well, was it Boston to pull this
not?
off?
I mean,
I did the math on this. For Boston to pull it off, it's the teams that are tied in 8th place right now have 120 CDL points. So you've been getting 40 per stage. So the rough idea is you got to get to 160 as sort of that threshold mark. For Boston to get to 160, they would have to go either 6-1 or 7-0 throughout this stage, and then still place at least top 4 at the major. So it is possible, but if they do it, Major Maniac first round ballot Hall of Famer, lock him in. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It would be nearly impossible for Boston to pull that off. But again, they can play spoiler to everybody else.
It's fun to maybe have hope about it. Maybe Boston can.
Not yet. Not one series. If they go if they start out 3-0, then we can push the narrative. But we're too far away at this point.
Yeah, I'm getting carried away. They're 2-1 up in this series, Chance. I'm on board the Boston train. 2-1 up as we head into 6-star hardpoint. Things have very much, kind of changed. Difference in terms of where the hills are. The team's well practiced on it. Yeah, let's find out. I imagine they are, but it's fast, it's furious. There's no more water hardpoint, which is, you can say it's a blessing if you want, but relevant of that, Minnesota Rocket with a decent enough start, but a 0-3 record for them will not be good viewing for the Rocket fans. Priest is starting to heat up here as well. Boston Breach are going to be feeling themselves, but we'll still have to get this one solidified. 2-1 up is all very well, but Minnesota Rocket will be looking to try and send us to map number 5. Good start from them as well. 12 points on the board. You will get this final 15-2. Good position to be in. Boston Breach already on the back foot here, Chance.
And Boston Breach also, because they have to rotate, are going to be forward hitting through the top side of the map. I think Gunless got the call out from his team that all the pressure is coming from this direction, and him and Lynn's nice little crossfire. That's going to be the sort of start of the push. The back line for Minnesota Rocker is going to be Accuracy, who is last man standing. Rocker, they read the pressure. It doesn't matter. They get picked apart, and Boston flipped the map as well. They'll be in control of P2.
Somewhat an air of confidence, isn't there, in this Boston Breach, and the way that they have been playing this game. The Search and Destroy was the epitome of it, but Beans will find 2. It's a wonderful break in rotation from Boston. 35 seconds remaining, and that's something for Rocket. You can't let that happen.
I mean, again, they got a 4-man wipe on P1, free and clear on the rotation, and yeah, they convert that to virtually nothing. So getting punished already, and Accuracy trying to find the route, but that is your main AR as your front man, never gonna pay off. The only thing Boston want to wrap back and get is the actual time. They'll have the spawns as well as the final 12 seconds, and Snoopy doing the smart thing. He does not have the timing to jump and make that play. Gonna group up together with Priest, a new SMG duo. Gonna be running it down mid.
Standy will be the target. We'll have a little bit of backup from Linz, though. And this is going to be the break to potentially come through here for Boston if they can work something towards this side. Snoopy would want to find one, can't find the second. Linz is there to pick up the pieces. Good hold from Rocket. 45 seconds remaining here. Over towards P3. Looking like a good setup so far from Rocket. Nothing to write home about for Boston Breach. And Major Maniac has set himself up in a decent position, but needs a little bit of backup. Does Habit, goes for the child, will find one somehow. It's an ever so slight touch, but a good hold from Rocket so far, and that's what they really did need. After that P1 to P2 was looking so good and then also terrible, they needed this bounce back. They get it. 20 seconds to go. They're going to get every single one of those seconds. Rotation starting to come in. Rocket have some presence here as well, but Boston are going to be the first ones. Find some sort of contact, and they will find these gunfights. So Boston looking good for a rotation, but it's a great hold from Rocket.
Well, kind of, right? I mean, overall, yes, for Rocker, certainly good, but they ended up like losing the Scrap Tom fight while Boston are ahead of the rotation. So Boston currently in a bit of a pinch right now. Rocker putting the pressure from both sides, and Priesta feels the pressure and does get picked apart. So you might have gotten there first, but you will not be there last. Rocker maybe make amends for losing the final, 10 seconds at the old time. They are absolutely free and clear for new, and they're pushed out both directions. This is perfect right now on P4.
When they do manage to get a hold of the setups, it does look good from Rocket. Losing a couple of gunfights, though, and a bit of a pinstripe kill feed is going to open things up here potentially with Boston to try and find a way through. They are close. Not close enough. Major Maniac taking Snoopy down. Not going to happen. Rocket comfortably taking away this final 20 seconds or so, you would like to think, but Boston Breach are going to have one more stab at it. Through the front doors they go. Standy gunless holding it down, though. And that's a big spray coming in from Standy. 5 in a row now. 6 will be wonderful. Great hold from Rocket as we head into another rotation. And for all that, we were singing the praises of Boston Breach with that break up towards P2. That's really all they've done.
Yeah, one good moment, and you are exactly right. Rocker more or less been in control of the game, and Standy's going to let that ride. Was able to get the cruise missile, which the cruise missile sort of changes the way the map gets played now. It used to be you would only invest it on the water hill or like primarily, but now it might just be primed up for like a P3. So Rocker, they can afford now on any of the next 2 hills to really fight tooth and nail for the scrap. Use the utility for the end, but they're in control of P1, in control of the game, and their hard points have been singing sweet, nearly double the score of their opponent, and firmly in control of the time.
It's a very solid lead for Minnesota Rocket. Minor one blip over towards P2. They have been dominant throughout 6 stars so far. The comms have got to be flowing. Let's go for a listening with Minnesota Rocket.
Mama, backstairs,
Driver up here too.
Close time and pull.
One bullet on time.
That's two.
He's both on time. They're not pushed up yet.
Put one shot.
Oh, got it.
Hit him with anytime.
P2, I'm looking over for you guys.
Missiles, you want missiles? He pinched me the C2.
Stairs, dead.
Nice, put you
I
got mid-stairs. I have
I have B2.
I can help elbow if they're there.
Okay.
If I help elbow, look at
two elbow, guys.
I'm helping elbow.
Another one above me.
One shot.
On time weak, elbow and
Turn spawned it all.
Go new. They spawn you
One
guys.
already took her
You gotta
out.
play kill some.
Oh no, two, one pushing the pool. He's pushing the pool.
I can shriek this.
Class C2.
Okay. You should.
One is here. Just
Go back
on.
first. In the back.
There's someone in the back.
Beat that.
I've been weak.
Lobby, dead.
Nice. Last guy's all dead. Beans.
Alright,
I'm
let me see.
I'm looking wood. I have the right guys.
We would.
Wood, after me.
Alright,
After me.
One dead.
After me, they're gonna be
Top.
Okay, I have all of one. I have wood. I have all wood, okay?
C1,
I
and
have
then
all
half
wood.
of me.
She did.
Good job. No one hitting one. Off one, guys.
Lobby.
I have lobby. Lobby dead. Good job. I have wood. I still have wood.
One dead.
I have wood.
You want me?
Wood bullet.
No,
I have
wood.
real wood. I have real wood.
I'm gonna push up wood.
I
Get time.
swear. Okay, go.
I stuck the shit. Pick at the mid.
Two and a half. Beans one shot on the hop. One's wood and one hop. Hitting wood fast. There's two off. They're all hill.
Lobby dead.
Nice. I'm gonna pick a mid.
After wood.
He's here. Wood. Not weak. Beans. Challenge.
I'm gonna get mid steps. I'm gonna get mid steps. You're good. I
Nice. Hop. I got fast. I'm on the hop. On the hop. Okay.
Send it.
Do you see one? I'm going you.
I'm repitching wood. I can go.
Mike, he's in here.
Boston Breach still finding themselves around 80 points or so behind, now starting to rise over towards a 90 and 100. They need a good hold shortly chance. They seem to have made all of their money over towards P2 and not a lot anywhere else.
Yeah, and well, remember that time Standy got a cruise missile. If Rocker want, they can call it in. Standy is standing still. Cruise missile's going to be flying in. And how many kills can you force for your teammates to actually collect? You know they're going to be underground, both sides as well. Accuracy makes his way out to time, and well, Accuracy holding the iron, able to get his kill before he falls. And the cruise missile there for the setup, eventually enough to break Gunless, the final player to strike. The last Hermano on the time, 30 seconds left. Rocker will win this game.
The dominoes fall into place for them. 25 seconds to go, but the break potentially coming back here from Boston Breach. They find a couple, they need to find a couple more. Lins and Stanley holding firm. Lins with the angle, finds two of his own. The third would be wonderful, can't quite find it. Major Maniac just slows it down, but the time's still ticking here for Rocker. 15 seconds or so away. They can't quite win it here. They will need another rotation, but it has been, other than a couple of bad P2s, perfect from Rocker. Other than that, it really has been them all of the way through this one. Boston Breach, not a lot to write home about here, chance whatsoever.
No, not at all. Sort of that last-ditch effort before you're going to have some guy like Accuracy just go and collect the time. But once again, Rocker just making the hard points easier than on themselves. Boston, they'll get into situations, win a rotation, absolutely push out nothing, and then just get pinched for free. And, I mean, Rocker, again, on the fundamental front, these guys have been on point. A little bit of swarm around P1. Lins for the extra stamp on the game. You want to make it match the comms, but Snoopy, you're not going to allow it to happen. Boston still fighting. Such a long way to go.
Still 100 points behind and about to find themselves heading to a map number 5.
There we go.
It's felt imminent for, well, I mean, a long time. Minnesota Rocker find map number 4. We will get another game 5 here on Friday. You'll love to see it. Both these two teams going head to head. And Search and Destroy on Rio is what's going to decide it. Minnesota Rocker, fantastic in these hard points. Boston Breach has still got a lot of work to do. There's no doubt of it. Definite improvements. You're going to see those improvements again in the Search and Destroy in map number 5. We're all tied up. We're heading over towards the final map.
Yeah, Boston really a team that is unable to capitalize when you have the advantage. But just for the fact they're going to a map 5, things are definitely going to be interesting across the board there, though, from Rocker, SMG duo, excuse me, absolutely feasting. Lynn's 25 kills, Standy 23, damage out of control, and ARs just hanging out in the hill. You know, that is Accuracy at his very best, and Gunless, well, he's doing everything he can on the map. But a setup for map 5, two of the uniciest teams, but now Boston, it is quite literally just that new dynamic they have. As maybe we have a new look at a game flow. One of the shortest ones you're really gonna see. Not that many hills had to be played. Rocker quite literally did just run away with the game.
Very comfortable. I think would be the way I described that one for Rocket. Outside of P2, which looked a little rocky now and then, nothing really from Boston otherwise. Very similar scorelines when it comes down to the hard points. The two in the middle, though, come in from Boston. 6-2 in the Invasion, Search and Destroy. Something that may well be on the minds of Rocker as we head into a map number 5 on Rio. Search and Destroy plays very different to Invasion, I would presume. But, I mean, look, for Rocker now, you've brought it back. For Boston, you have an opportunity to put to bed some of the woes that have been your season. Are they going to be able to do it, though? I'm not sure. It's going to be a banger either way. Map number 5 coming up on the other side of this break.
The Champs Tracer Pack is available now. The bundle includes the Reaper Operator skin, Ripper Weapon Blueprint, Death Stare Weapon Blueprint, Cuts Deep Charm, 2 calling cards, 2 emblems, and 2 weapon stickers. Use these items in both Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 and Call of Duty Warzone. Available in store now using Call of Duty points.
Map number 5 are very much on the menu this evening. We've got another one coming up here between Boston and Minnesota Rocket. Map 5s have been somewhat of an issue for both these two teams' chance throughout the entire season, but which way is this one leaning as we're going to be heading into Rio?
Look, these guys have played a bunch. They always go to map 5, and the thing to pay attention to, 1-11 record, obviously horrible for Boston. If you're thinking 5-5 is solid, quite a few of the game 5 wins that Rocker have are just against the Boston Breach. So I think that record is even a little bit deceiving. It has just been Boston with negative ice. They are 0 on the Kelvin scale. They are in the negative 40s and 50s on both Celsius and Fahrenheit. In an evasion, last time these two teams played, it was a 6-0 for Rocker. Now the Major Maniac is in the mix. They ended up looking dominant. They got a 6-2 win against the exact same Minnesota squad. Well, it's a different one here for the map number 5, but Major Maniac literally getting his true test of his S&D abilities in his first series back in the CDL. We'll see what him and Boston can do.
He was the X Factor in map number 2. He's going to have to be it here in map number 5. For the side of Boston Breach. Minnesota Rocket absolutely need this win. Yeah, that's tough viewing. It is tough viewing. First bloods were very much paramount to Boston Breach's success. They're going to have to find one here if they want to try and break open what is going to be a setup for Rocket. Almost down over towards the B side. Look at the pressure coming in from Boston already over towards the side. Beans will find one and active on the map once again. Priest, they're lining up two. The shots into accuracy. Phenomenal. Gunless left all on his own. It is a clean retake for Boston Breach. The perfect way to start a Rio Search and Destroy.
No effort nor energy wasted. The gunny on point there from Priesta for not just one, but 2 kills that he was able to get. Stanley just picked apart for the first one, and that is exactly what we would like to see. I know I mentioned the invasion the last time these two teams played was a rocker 6-0. Boston make amends for that one. The game 5, though, went all the way to around 11. It was a back-and-forth battle between these two squads, but I know for Boston, round 1 like that, it's got to feel good.
Perfect way to start your search and destroy. Rounds like that. Minnesota Rocker, though, what have you got the ability to do to bounce back here? As Boston, not quite as much of an aggressive push over towards B, of course. As Minnesota Rocker setting themselves up over towards the A side mostly, but Boston playing information right now, putting the feelers out, trying to understand exactly how Rocker are set up, trying to understand where the gaps actually are. Very proactive on invasion. They're going to have to be it here. Boston looking to try and get something done over towards this B side. Initiation starting to come on through. The grenade hits and they will spring into life. This bomb's going down.
And backing down, Eskies get the plant down. Can you survive is the question. A lot of utility on the backside, but the smoke able to get out. Another 4v4 retake. Rocker, their turn.
So he's going to have to do something special here. Shots in the gunless are big. Can get out as well. His gunfight against Stanley would be massive if he can find it, but he just backs on down. Beans surviving as well, and not just surviving, but thriving too. Finds 2. Accuracy now left in a 1 versus 2. Can find 1. It's accuracy against Beans. 20 seconds on the clock. Bomb is down for Boston. Accuracy on the flank. They're gonna run into each other though. Beans isn't gonna guess right, and accuracy, the Iceman himself, will get the job done. The big flank comes through. The route is played, and accuracy finds a round for Rocker. Chaotic one of that.
That is, I mean, make no mistake, massive round. I mean, for Minnesota, these guys are the ones that are legitimately on the bubble for champs. These 10 CDL points mean so much more to this team. And the big vet stepping up in the 1v1 when you need him most, because that was a 2v4 where Snoopy and Beans nearly break you down. Accuracy so focused in that moment, he even stopped chewing his gum. Man leveled up for that moment. Big 3 kills on the round as well. Tied up 1-1.
Very much locked in. A 10 series losing spree for the side of Boston. It is quite some time ago since they tasted a victory, but Beans is really doing very well here. In map number 5, 2 more kills to find. Minnesota Rocket now left in a 2 versus 4. Bomb not in your hands. Boston very aware of that. Tough round to win from here.
And there's some extra noise as well. So you got Major Maniac wrapping back on the mini-map to make sure he can help out Beans. Maybe look for the double chow. Maybe don't make any mistakes. Trying to coordinate some nades. And accuracy back down. You still got to pick up the bomb. Meanwhile, Snoopy's going hunting and gunless. Well, he's just doing a world tour, getting his steps in. Pretty good exercise as Rocker going to end up losing this round.
Yeah. Not a great deal like Gunless can do from this position. Great gunning, as expected, but Boston Breach. Again, it feels very similar to Invasion. They are being proactive. They are the ones making the plays. The first bloods are falling their way. And looking maybe not to be 3-0 up, to be honest with you, after the clutch comes through. Accuracy was the one to solidify that, but Boston Breach, so far so good. Major Maniac comes on point, talking to the younger, more inexperienced player and Snoopy, letting him know what he thinks he should be doing. Snoopy is thriving under this pressure right now. Boston Breach, 2-1 to the good here in map number 5.
Just making sure you stay coordinated, and Boston's coordination maybe on the right side of the map. 2 players through mid, Snoopy and Major Maniac working together. So that was the call out. Good Snoopy in the mix, but he looks the wrong direction. So he's just going to get first blooded. Nice little moment there from Rocker. Now Boston really have their work cut out for him. Do you want to go for the bomb plan, or do you want to find a pick first? I think Priesta has got murder on his mind.
Spraying in absolute nothing. But we'll get the bomb down. Beans takes up the position, but look at this 3-man flank that is just being orchestrated somewhat. from Minnesota Rocker. Is Priest going to get the read on this one? Needs to find at least one. Can't find anything. It just gets caught by maybe a little bit of bad timing. Now Major Maniac. Beans. What can you do from this position? Major will find one. Gets traded almost immediately. Beans can't find that first, which may well have set him on his way to a good position. They will close the gap. They will shut him down. And Minnesota Rocker, convincing retake on the site. I think with Priest there, it's just an awkward little spot, right? One of those awkward moments where you set yourself up and you already know you're in an awkward position. Rocker, collapse, punish. 2-2. Very tight search and destroy so far, Chance.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of nerves in Priest's fingers, a little bit of weird trigger discipline, sort of lit that, I don't even know what you call it, little railing up. And yeah, unfortunate. Not the time to be going for the beat down, but obviously if you start the round in a 3v4, things are not going to be easy. So Rocker again, nice little bounce, like sort of back and forth game we're having thus far. Around 11 in the game 5 between these two teams last time they played. Rocker looking to keep that extra edge. Surprisingly, going back to the A site, Beans picked him apart last time. This time he's going to get back down. Good shots getting rung through, and well, there's all the trades. Priest falls as well. Picked up 2, but that delivers to our 2 versus 2. It's the AR square up for both of these teams.
Is the punching power going to be there, though? This aggressive push that's going to come in from Rocker, they are going to be hellishly aggressive. This bomb's going to inevitably go down. This next gunfight's going to be huge. Major Maniac caught lacking, and there you go. It's free. Beans now left in a 1 versus 2, and for the first time, it's feeling like Minnesota Rocker are going to take the lead. The search and destroy actually go for the challenge. Sword is gunless, and Beans lines them up. How on earth can you let that?
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
It's early. It is very, very early, but put it in.
Look, Ton, all I know is that if I'm the 2 AR players of Minnesota Rocker, we're not traditionally the fastest guys in the league. I get the bomb down, I'm L-triggering. They want to play like some SNG. They fly at B's, and they pay the iron price. I mean, this is just a freebie gunfight. Accuracy gets a bullet off, and then gunless, maybe just caught in the YY with the pistol instead of the MCW. Incoming Beans, I know the worst thing on Gunless's mind in that moment, that dead call out, had to have been a roar.
You see him screaming on the player cam. And that could be a huge momentum round for Boston Breach now. 7-2 from Beans. He has been an absolute behemoth yet for Boston in map number 5 so far. Setup from Boston is slow, it's passive. But look at this push that's now going to come on through. As Beans got the info that I think he did. Grenade's going to go down just to slow things up. It's going to initiate the rest of the team to make the push over towards B. Bomb going down and fight the pressure. Rocker going to have to go for the retake. Beans is positioned well. He'll butter them up as they head into the site. Snoopy and Co, can you clean up?
That's so much damage. This is just awkward. Yeah, Standy doesn't know what direction to look. Leans, food for fodder. Gunless might be able to get one in the meantime. This is going to be a 2v3. Again, the AR players for Rocker have to clutch.
Such a difficult position. Snoopy very, very weak though. Gunless caught with his pants down, and all of a sudden, its accuracy now left in a 1 versus 3. Not this time. Boston back into the lead. And Beans is just playing with them. I think they didn't see him. He catches a glimpse of the flank coming in. He holds it down, but it's Snoopy who really puts the dagger in. But the information was gained. The job was done from Beans. It just initiated Boston to find that push over towards B, and then all of a sudden, things start to collapse here for Minnesota Rocker. Boston commanding position once again, looking like a very different team here in Search and Destroy.
Without question, it is not even remotely close. And again, in the player cams, seeing Major Maniac be the motor mouth common for his team. In Boston, coordinated. Major's going to be on an island. Everybody else stacking towards A. And it's honestly the perfect play call. Rocker was sort of toying with the idea of working the A site. That gets shut down. The bomb plant for B is going to be completely free. We're just trusting our retakes again for Boston. 3 players working together as a pack.
Gunless will find one. This bomb will go down. Boston trying out what Rocker have done. The shots are crispy from accuracy. My word. The second is absolutely absurd. Now Snoopy very little you can do from this position, but on a 4 spree, probably wants to keep that up, to be honest with you, and choosing to back out of a unwinnable situation. Rocker may well go hunting, but also don't want to give any more over. Yeah, he spotted him, Snoopy now in the wisp.
Oh my god.
Good lord. 13 seconds to hunt him down. I think after that gun,
no.
If I'm Rocker, I'm chalking that up.
There's no hunting this man down. That's okay. He can live in this corner. That's his garage. Linz, maybe if he can catch a weird angle, can rip his foot off, but yeah, you're playing a dangerous game. So nice round from Rocker. Honestly, in a few of these sort of mixy moments, Major Maniac hasn't been able to execute. He gets caught by Gunless for the first blood. That effectively seals the deal, and I don't know if Boston are going to be super trusting of the retakes after the fact. But still, good things or good ideas to play with for Boston. Snoopy on a 5. You'd love to get him the cruise missile, but you also don't want to mix things up too much. Like the play calls have been on point.
Yeah.
Aggression has been your friend. You don't want to get too caught off guard by a 6 spree if you can help it. But Boston spreading the map. They are going to be playing for a picks, at least initially in this round.
Yeah, 5 spree can very much be a double-edged sword, right? I see so many players playing so well, finding those kills, flowing around the map. And all of a sudden, when you need one more, you change up exactly how you've been playing to get the 5 initially. But with the way that Snoopy shut down Stanley in that previous round, he just needs maybe a tiny window of opportunity to make this count, but he's now very much stunned up on the crossing and very much the weakest man. Here goes to get out and doesn't. Does that initiate the rest of the team? Not quite. So the 6 not going to happen. Passive play from a player like Snoopy is never going to work out that well. Now Bean's going to have to wait on the rest of his team, who is only Major Maniac, to potentially find a flank, because Minnesota Rocker have battened down the hatches yet. But Major Maniac, he did find a route through, but does eventually get shut down. Beans knows where they are. Does not matter. Minnesota Rocker back-to-back rounds.
Yep, big rounds as well. Gunless putting in overtime in this round. The lone defender by the van and able to just catch Snoopy. I think Snoopy might have been better off just laying down and waiting to heal up, but he tries to run away from Gunless, and he is not going to be able to get very far. This has not been a very cuddly game. Back and forth clutches for either team. I know the ARs from Rocker have been showing up. Accuracy, been gunning some players down as well. A nail biter for a Boston team, 1-11 in game 5s. They're feeling the heat again.
For Minnesota Rocker, we've talked about it so often, right? They absolutely need this win. They cannot let this slip. Games against Boston, the consensus worst team in the game right now. You need to find a dub here. Boston have definitely looked like a different animal in the search and destroy than they have done all season, looking a lot better. But this one's not done yet. Big hit coming in over towards this A side. Boxes control is going to be there for Boston, but the smoke will shut things down. Standy, trophy down, bomb alongside of it. Really nice setup, execution from Rocker. But can you hold this down? Linz towards the garage side is going to be the initiator here. Is he going to be able to hold this first entire gunfight? Beans will find 1. Accuracy finds 2, though, on Overwatch. As Beans will answer back with 2 of his own. 2 versus 2. The game slows down. 28 seconds for them to do something here. Chance, but Beans gets the shots in. Accuracy has to back him down.
Oh my god.
Gunless makes the push, but they know he's coming. Snoopy is there, and all of a sudden they just break them down. Beans will find 3 for the retake. Minnesota Rocker crumble. Boston are one away.
Don't even know how it happened. I don't know if that is coverage from Beans there in that moment, but Gunless thought he had the gunfight with the pistol, and that Renetti has been the thorn in Gunless's side. I was thinking accuracy over here having a great game with 10 kills. Well, Beans doing him one better with 11. Beans, I know very early on, he choked the 1v1 in that near like 2 versus 4 Boston almost had. He's made up for it and then some. So many clutch moments for Beans so far in this game 5. Beans on Boston Breach. Name a better beefy duo.
There are many British cuisines that I would love to bring up in this situation, but it may well not be the time. Beans now. You found it!
Oh my god!
Deleted Gunless! Make it 4 in a row from Beans. 12 and 4 in the push over towards B. It's almost poetry in motion at this stage. The grenade not quite working out for him, but Rocker are set up here. They are going to slow them down. Things get maybe a little bit more intense with Boston. They know they have that advantage, but will they be expecting 3 members of Rocker to be set up here? Well, they won't, and they're not anymore either way. Back on down Rocker, maybe second guessing themselves. Boston taking their time, 50 seconds to make something work.
Well, and there's some noise, by the way. Major Maniac makes contact with accuracy sort of down the A lane. So Boston, they know they got a 3v2 at minimum around this B site. So they let the comms come through. They get the bomb down. It'll be a 3v4 retake from Rocker. 10 CDL points they desperately need. Boston might take it away from them.
Huge moment in their season. Got to find something. Backs against the wall. You found a couple already, and that's a good start. Linz will find 1 kill onto Snoopy, but Beans is still alive, and that's always going to be an issue. Major Maniac is going to make the play. Linz has read it. 3 versus 2 in favor of Rocket. Priest is starting to make a move now, checking that bomb. Beans is dealt with. They have picked them apart to force around number 11. Minnesota Rocker, it is quite simply a perfect retake. We've seen a couple of big plays from both these two teams. It's ultimately ended up, inevitably, with around number 11 incoming. Minnesota Rocket, fantastic retake.
Yeah, Rocker, I mean, that's just incredible. Major Maniac has been easy reads for these guys. The patience just out of control, knowing they forced Boston's hand, just getting back, like, control of the site. Hell of a job to get here. Again, 10 CDL points that Rocker is so much more desperate for. Against a team like Boston, you have to beat them in the game 5s. And maybe Gunless gifted a new life. Beans has had his number, an opportunity for the final stamp. If they shoot bodies, you gotta make sure you beat them in the end.
And you'll have one more opportunity to do so. It's an attacking round for Rocket. This bomb's going to go down. It's going to have to be a retake.
No time wasted.
Both these two teams have done so well at retaking this site. Can Boston do it this time around? Your linchpin's gone. Linz takes down Beans, and all of a sudden, Boston breach. What have you got in the locker? Absolutely nothing. If Linz has got anything to do about it, now has to be a 2 versus 4. Linz is working on the ace. Can't find the third. Snoopy Priest that combine. It's now a 1 versus 2, and the dream is dead for Boston Breach. Commanding position all the way through, proactive in the search and destroy, and it matters very little. Minnesota Rocket get the job done in 11 and in 5. They continue their spree against Boston in these game 5s. They can't catch a win.
And for game 5 ice that is so negative, not even Major Maniac can make the difference, man. Ineffectual in the game 5. Beans won a hell of a job, but gets obliterated for their first blood. Absolutely no pressure around it. In devastation on one side. And they're going to be talking that over time and time again. No pressure on the map. Bomb gets planted for free. And talk about those clutches from Rocker. A 3v4 they had with Bomb down, where they retook that site with ease. And feeling the confidence, feeling the flavor. Just get the bomb plant and walk away in the round 11 as if it was not even close. Hell of a game from accuracy overall. No, we got to double-digit kills. Lynn started popping off towards the end as well. Massive in that final round. And even Gunless, hey, 3 first bloods to his name. I know him and accuracy were last man standing more often than not. There you go for Boston again. Major Maniac, fantastic S&D player, was not able to shine in the game number 5.
Not at all. Beans did what he could in that game, but did he maybe curse them with the body shots early doors? Who knows? But either way,
yeah,
look, well.
Ton, it has to be said, word to you in that